Welcome back to the channel. It's your host TKK, man. Listen, first, let me just say that I appreciate you guys for sticking around with me rebranding and redeveloping the channel. We are a few subscribers away from 3,000, so let me just tell you thank you. I really do appreciate the support. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that I covered in my previous video. If you haven't checked that out, there it is right there. You can pause this video, check it out, listen to that discussion. We covered my personal reality about PC gaming versus console gaming, right? And so this week, which today is actually Friday as I'm recording this, you should be seeing this possibly Saturday, right? My upload times are 6:30 in the morning. This is going to be a two-part segment for this. We're going to be covering the PC, and it's going to really be centered around this RTX 3090, right? I'm going to attempt in this video to offer you some context as to my perception. What am I thinking about when I'm actually doing a build? Because I'm going to do a fresh build for this, right? We're going to talk about some of the parts that I actually have and some new parts that I want to get in my reasoning behind them, okay? Within this video, there's going to be some depth. So this is not going to be a quick watch. Make sure you watch it. If you have any constructive criticism or something to add, drop it in the comments because I want to be able to have a conversation with you. I also want other lookers, newer subscribers that are new to the field of PC gaming to have something to look at, right? My opinion is not the do all be all. That's the beauty of putting this information out here. Trying to create and develop a community of realistic conversations. None of the content here is sponsored or been given, and I speak as my own, right? So after I roll my intro, we're gonna get right to it. Welcome back to the channel. So check it out. Look, this build is going to feature this tank. This is the NVIDIA RTX Founders Edition 3090 graphics card. Right now, today, this series or iteration of a graphics card is the do all be all. This is the creme de la creme, the best of the best. This is what you want if you want to get the most frames, the most innovative technology to play your games. If you're looking to get that 4K resolution, hell, even the 8K. I don't have an 8K display in my home, but I've seen some crazy stuff with games like God of War, things like that. Single player titles being able to natively render 8K resolution using the deep learning super sample technology that this card can provide for you. This is, as of this date, the holy grail of a graphics card. And so when you are doing your PC build, anybody, your conversation should always start with the graphics card. This is literally the Bible, the starting point, the start, the in between and the finish to what you're doing from a gaming perspective. You have to solidify this thing first. So because I went with the RTX 3090, I went with this card based on resolution. I had two things in mind, resolution and frame rate, okay? Now, the LG C2 OLED is going to be coming out pretty soon in a couple months. Right now, I am stalking it, okay? I'm interested in buying that particular panel in either a 42 or a 48 inch. 42 is really what I want. If I have to settle for the 48 inch, I'll take it. This year, I'm not going to be buying a larger OLED. I'm going to be buying a smaller one because as of right now, I'm actually dedicated my gaming system to my living room. I have a 3090 build. Not this one, but another one that's on my 77-inch C1, and it's been an amazing experience. However, I do miss gaming at the desktop space. So in a second, we're gonna pan through and get back to my desk so we can start talking about this build. All right, so at this point of the video, we need to have a discussion, right? So I wanna talk to anybody that's interested in engaging in your first PC build. If you've browsed my catalog, and I've been asked this a few times, how many PCs do you have? I have more than I can think of really right now. I've built even more, right? And so I have a house full of gamers. Everybody in my household games, so everybody has a PC. And myself, I have many, right? So for the person that is looking to get into doing a build for the first time, or maybe you're a parent or, you know, a loved one or somebody, self-gamer, and you're looking to just say, hey man, I don't want to deal with building a computer. You might be interested in getting a pre-built, right? So last clip, I had talked about the graphics card being the most important part for a gamer. You center your build around the graphics card. So even if you're buying a pre-built, you want to make sure that it has the piece that you're looking for, like So if you're looking for a 3090, maybe you want like no compromises as of today. You want to future-proof yourself, so to speak, going forward. You want to get the highest graphics card that you can get. You would be looking for a build that has a 3090. If you feel like, hey, I can scale it down a little bit, I'll go 3080 Ti or 3080 or 3070 Ti or 3070, 3060 Ti, and so forth. That's the general concept when you're looking for a graphics card. Outside of that, the parts today are so good. And by parts, I'm talking about processors and motherboards. They're so good today where you don't have to have the latest and greatest. You do not have to have the absolute best to get a great gaming experience. It's always the but, right? So what do I mean? I mean, if you're gaming or I want to play games, but I want to do this, right? The but is when you want to start being more conscious of those other parts, right? So what do I mean? If you're planning on streaming, if you're planning on doing video edits, if you're planning on, doing other things that involve more than just really gaming being your primary focus of your system, your build, your pre-build that you're buying, then you want to start focusing more on higher tier processors. Get yourself educated on processors that are going to have more cores, more multi-cores, all different features like that. There's a lot of different things, right? You start diving into the logistics of the RAM, the frequency of the RAM, the series of the RAM, what you can do in terms of upgrading your compatibility to your motherboard and the RAM. Like, all RAM sticks are not created equally. You look at Corsair, they make several sticks of RAM. They're not all going to be able to achieve the same frequency if overclocked. On the same side, the motherboard's not also going to be able to read that too. So there's a lot of compatibility things that you really got to focus on. This is why, I have done a couple of reviews on pre-built systems that were purchased from my sons. And so those builds were put in place really to kind of show you guys that you can buy a quality system and you can enjoy it, right? So in a second, I'm going to show you a website if you're a builder, first-time builder, that you can check into to help you with that. All right, so we got PCPartPicker.com pulled up. Now, I don't want to be responsible for, showing you the wrong way to build a computer, which is exactly why I'm not going to do an on-screen build for this, okay? I'm not certified, I'm self-taught. It's something that I'm passionate about, and I just want to make sure that I'm offering a perspective, a fresh perspective. That's really what my intentions are. But this website, what it does is it's pretty much an encyclopedia for parts. So it essentially takes all of the websites that you would think of, your Amazon, your Newegg, your Tiger Direct, if that even still exists, your Micro Center, all of the computer parts stores in locations that you would go to online, it compiles them. So you search out what you want to do, what you're thinking about building, and it will essentially show you like the best price points for whatever parts. Keeping in mind that the first part is the most expensive part. It's the most important part. The graphics card is going to be tough. If you can find one at a retail cost, not a resale cost, but a retail cost, grab it, okay? Beyond that, PC Part Picker does have what's called a compatibility checker. This is where the website gets really intuitive because you can start a system build with your graphics card. If that's the first part you got, start with that. Beyond that, you can play around, tinker with whatever functionalities or features you want. You can look at cases, you can look at motherboards, power supplies, and the compatibility checker on this website is literally going to tell you it's going to work or it's not going to work. And if it tells you it's going to work and there's some notes, you would glance down at the notes. It's really a community ran website because there's a lot of builds and things like that have been on here. Now, I haven't personally put any of my stuff on there. I'd rather just save my stuff just to kind of show my own personal friends, but this is a great website and I'm not affiliated with this website in any way. There's no partnership here. It's just that I think it's a really good tool. I don't have to use it. Like, I'm comfortable enough where I don't need it, but if I'm ever curious about a case or something to that effect that I've never watched a person build around, then it's a great tool even for me to be able to look at and say, okay, I think it'll fit, but it'll tell me if it will fit based on the user feedback from the community. So PCPartPicker.com, you definitely want to put it into your repertoire when you're doing this. All right, team, so check it out. This is actually going to be a two-part video. I just wanted to start off by kind of, setting the tempo with offering some advice, letting you know. In the next video that I post of this series, it's going to be just two parts. I'm going to go over the parts that I've picked for the computer, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more based on why I made the investment for the parts. I think I've already talked about the graphics card, but I'm going to go into the logistics as to why I chose the power supply, the motherboard, the case, the RAM, everything, right? Even down to the storage. I'm going to kind of give you the rundown as to what the build is going to do for me. And then we'll take a look and compare that build in terms of a cost perspective to my existing 3090 build that I do have on the OLED. So I just want this to be informative. Now, I told you guys earlier in the week that I was going to do something for PC, and I was going to do a topic around if consoles are good enough. Consoles, if they're good enough, that's still going to be coming next week, as today is Friday and you're going to see this Saturday morning. So next week, expect that. You can also expect part 2 of this with the actual build that features the 3090 Founders Edition card at the end of that video. So if you have any questions, like I said, if you have any comments, you know, leave them down below. And I love the dialogue, love to talk about this stuff. I'm not egotistical with it. I'm just trying to raise some awareness and, you know, put some good into the community. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the subscribe. I appreciate you liking the video, leaving a comment, like I said. And if you'd like to share the video, that's cool too. As I always say at the end of my videos, Max love.